I'm gonna guess she's getting at her peak growth. Look at how much she has grown since I fed her this morning. Amazing. That is what you want to see. It's a rainy Monday morning. It's about 8:30-ish. I woke up by my mom texting me. I have to text her back. I was up till 2 in the morning editing my video with Papa making his famous hoe cakes. And I wanted to record like a regular little morning like I used to do, sort of like a regular day. I have a lot to do. It's wet outside. The cats are on rainy day schedule. That's what that means. And I'm going to do what I used to love to do. And I'm going to just sort of take you along with my boring day at the house. How shall we begin? Always with coffee. I want to be able to use this because Emma Jean got me this, but look, I have to charge it because I'm not prepared. I did not prepare well, so I'm going to charge this right now. I'm going to make coffee the easy way today. Yesterday when I made hoe cakes, not yesterday, I'm not awake yet. Yesterday when I edited my video about hoe cakes, I did an intro and I did a slow coffee situation with my Bialetti because it was a Sunday morning and I could actually, what am I saying? I don't work. I could do a slow coffee morning every morning if I want. But I used the Bialetti and I did a nice little intro for the video that I'm still editing because I want to be able to dance at the end and wrap it up with just maybe a few little words. And that's what I still have to do today. Whew. No, I don't want 6. I want 8. 8. Okay, 8. Cup of 8. 8 cup of coffee. Did I mess it up? No, it's good. Found this morning. I guess Rich had an apple. And he left the core. That's okay. I have a compost little tiny bin. Do you want to see it? This is my composter, and this is the last of the banana bread. I think I'm going to have it with my coffee. And these are the little things I try to buy so we don't use paper towels. But we still use paper towels. Yeah, we try. I do my best. Take these off. I don't know. Do I need to see what I'm doing? I don't know. This is Leona May. She is my, how do you call it? Starter, my sourdough starter. I've made 4 loaves of sourdough in my lifetime at being age 55. And it only started last month. I think it was last month was our first one. And that was because firstborn said, Mom, let's do it. My friend Monica, my old work, she gave me starter. She said, name your starter, keep it alive. I've done that. Then my mom got me this really handy, super cool thing to do it in. It has a temperature gauge and everything, and the span. It has this. It also has a tighter thing for the top when you put it in the refrigerator and you kind of put her into hibernation, which I do often. So today I'm going to, because I really want to, I'm not going to make sourdough bread. I'm not in the mood. I think you have to really be in the mood to make sourdough because you spend many hours in the kitchen, not laboring, but waiting, lots of waiting in between stuff. I just don't feel like doing that today because I have to finish the edit. Now that I'm thinking about it, I want to put meat in the crock pot for dinner so I don't have to do dinner, so I don't have to think about it. And I want to show you finally, I've been talking about it for a while, at least in my own head, how I make the sourdough crackers out of the discard because I'm going to discard some of this. I'm going to feed her. I'm going to talk about how I really don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just doing it because I'm in a phase in my life where I can try new things. And I would say that was on my list of things in life to do. Make sourdough bread. Now, my problem, and please tell me if you're an expert in sourdough feeding, I have a problem with how gross and messy it gets. She smells very fermented-y. Anyway, I tend to do this, and I know it's not proper, and have I watched a video on it? No, I have not. There's probably about 100 out there, or 1,000,000 or 1,000, but I haven't really watched a video. But I always take it out of here and put it in another jar, the jar I used to use, and then I wash this out with cold water, and then I let her do her thing in the jar for the day, and then it'll be the next day, and I take this stuff out of the other jar, and then I put it in this clean jar, and I rotate back and forth, because otherwise the sides get goopy and all gross, and I even try to make it go down so it doesn't look so bad, but I know it's probably not right. Maybe leaving it in there with all the goop is even better because it's more like, all the stuff growing. And plus, how do you weigh it? Like, I just finally got a scale. Like, before that, I was eyeballing it. I was like, okay, this looks about like how much starter and equal amounts flour, equal amounts water, and it was doing okay. And then I got a scale. Everything changed for me and everything got better because I was measuring it out precisely, which is something I don't like to do, but it works better. So I have a scale, and so I like to do 100 grams of the starter, and then I do 100 grams of flour, and then 100 grams of my Berkey water. I've heard that regular water, if it has chlorine in it, can mess with it and maybe kill some of the bacteria, which you do not want. So I use my Berkey water. You want to use good filtered water is what I've heard. And I mostly have been using just white flour. But the other day, I was at Grocery Outlet and they had whole wheat flour. And I thought, I'm going to just get that. So I've been feeding her with whole wheat flour. But yesterday, I put regular flour in. I know. Do you want to know all this? It's really like, it's like taking care of an entity. I was going to say human. Maybe that's why they tell you to name it, but it's not a human, but it's like alive. Oh gosh, I'm exhausted just talking about it, honestly. I'm going to eat my banana bread. I'm going to drink some coffee. I'm not going to do it with you because who wants to see me eat bread? That's not fun. And then we're going to feed Leona May, and then we're going to make crackers, and then, and I should have different words in there. I'm using should again, whatever. I'm going to talk about saying no too. This is going to get messy. I'll tell you that. What is going on with my coughing? Okay, I'm going to turn on the scale, and there's something called tare, and that zeroes it out. Mine has grams. And what else does it have? Grams, kgs, pounds, fluid ounces, mLs. I go with the grams. I put the jar on there, and the jar is 431 grams. So then I hit tare. And this is where it already gets messy. And already, I don't know the angle of which the camera is. I kind of do because I got up there and I tried to look. It's sitting on top of a chair on a tripod. And 55, 60, 68, 71, 75, 77, blah, 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 blah. Come on. We just want to get to about 100. I always go a little over, honestly. Okay, 97. Okay, 106. That seems to be my average. Then you take this stuff and I put it with my discard, and that's where the crackers are going to come in. But we have it at, it's 104. Okay, it landed on 104. So I'm going to hit, cats are in and out the Dutch door right now. I'm going to hit tare again. This is my whole wheat flour. There's white flour in here from yesterday. I think you can mix it and do whatever you want. And now we're going to put about 100, what did I say? I don't even remember now. 106? I like to do it in a little thing so I can kind of manage it. It's up to 90 right now. 90. Okay. 104. It's 104. 105. That's good. You know what I like to say? That's good enough. Here we put it back to 0. Here's my filtered water from the Berkey. I'm going to go about 106-ish. The water is easier to manage out of everything. Beep, beep, beep. Okay, 107. That's okay. That's okay. I like to mix mine with a chopstick because it's not, it gets messy. Oh, it gets messy in here. So I'm going to just get that a little swirly. Hey, let me bring you down close so you can see. Okay. I think that looks good. It's a good little mix up in there. And what's going to happen is she's going to rise as the day goes along. I like to just kind of push the sides down. All right. Okay. And this works for this too, so I put this on there. When I first started doing this, I literally put a tight lid on it every time, and I didn't know you're supposed to kind of let it breathe. And then I'd open the lid and it would practically fly off like a rocket because it had built up so much, gas and stuff. So I'll show you where I put her. I have been putting Leona May up here to do her rising. Right there. She does really well, and I'll try to show you throughout the day. It'll rise, it'll double in size, and she's growing and she's alive. Now, let's make those crackers. They're so good and so easy, and I want to show you. My heater just came on and my front door is open, and the cat is sitting. Let me show you. Who is it? Which one is it? Shanky! This is Shanky. Oh, don't be nervous. It's okay. All right. Let's shut this since the heater's on and it's drizzling out there. This is my discard jar. Okay, we're going to use this discard and we're going to put more to it. We're going to actually add to this, but we're going to make a small batch because I don't need a double batch of crackers. Can you believe it's the last day of the month? I just looked over and I was like, I got to switch my calendar to say 31. I can't believe it's the last day of the month. I truly cannot believe that. I think I'm going to use this. Oh, okay, I'm going to use this. Pampered Chef. Jerry Ann had a bunch of Tupperware. I have a bunch of Pampered Chef because my sister used to sell Pampered Chef. So this is where you use the scale again. I'm turning it on. Putting it here. Okay, Jerry Ann, by the way, is the one that gave me this recipe. Jerry Ann is who I made the Danish pastries with in her kitchen a couple videos ago. What I like to do, here's my art journal. I like to sometimes write recipes in my art journal and sort of illustrate it in a quick kind of way. And this is so easy. There's only 3 ingredients. The discard, butter, and salt. That's it. 3 ingredients. So easy. Let's do this. I should have it memorized. I've made these. Oh, shoot. Oh, my God. I've made these crackers already like half a dozen times. Okay. They are so good. Here's some I have right now. They kind of look like this. Shanky is freaking out over there. People go like this. Can you see my cracker? Oh my gosh, you can even smell that it is sourdoughy. I'm just gonna crunch it for you, but should I show you what I do? There is this garlic spread dip at Trader Joe's, and we love tabbouleh. And so let me show you how I eat it, and you're gonna hear me crunch, and you're gonna be like, eh. Some people liked it when I did jelly tasting. They're like, oh, I like when you crunch on the toast. But here we go. This is what I like to do. This is how I like to eat this cracker. Oh my God, it is so addicting. I dip it, oh, it broke. Oh, it's okay. I dip it in this garlic spread. And then I do a dab of the tabbouleh. What did I call it? Tabbouleh? Tabbouleh, yeah. And then I go. Mmm. 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 That is so good. What is going on, Shanky? Okay. Mmm. So good. So I put them in this jar. Oh my gosh, so good. Let's make the crackers now. Let's preheat the oven to 325 because that's how these crackers are baked. All right, I'm going to do the best I can to show you this in overhead. Turn on my scale. Okay, it's already at 0. So we're gonna put 200 grams of discard in here. And I like to do sometimes 400 because I do a double batch. I did a double batch this weekend. I've been making these so often because they're so yummy and snacky. And they're not, they're not full of preservatives. They're not sitting on a shelf in a box with a bunch of stuff in there that you can't read. It's literally so pure and fermented and awesome. And I did, there's 200, okay, 201, close enough. I sort of told a fib because there is another ingredient in here. If you can season it with whatever you want. And I like to use everything but the bagel. So then you put 28 grams of butter. I think I find it's usually about this much. And you melt it. You melt it in the microwave. Now it's time for the butter. You want to zero it out so you can see. And it's 28 grams of butter. And if you don't like a microwave, guess what? Okay. It's a bit short. But that's okay too. I'm not going to melt any more butter. It's fine. Okay, 25. It should be 28. If you don't like the microwave, some people hate microwaves. You can, of course, melt it over the stove. There's different ways to melt butter. And this is, oh, I needed the salt. Okay, now, I don't really measure the salt. You're supposed to put 1 gram of salt in. But I just kind of take my salt and pinch it in. Does that look good? Okay, now I get my little bit of salt. I'm gonna get my salt. I like to use the kosher big chunky salt. And I just do a little bit, like a little bit. That's it. I had to buy more of this bagel seasoning. And I was mixing it in there, but now I just sprinkle it over the top. It tastes so good. So you want to mix your salt in there. Okay, so far, isn't that so easy? And now we're going to put it on a cookie sheet and spread it out evenly. Here is my cookie sheet. I have also made waffles out of my discard and also biscuits. Evidently there's a multitude of things you can do with your discard so you're not just putting it in the trash. Jerry Ann said, oh, Tracy, never put your discard in the trash. And for me, these crackers have just been such a good snack with all the dips, they're crunchy. You can taste the sourdough and they're just amazing. Now, when I do a double batch, it almost takes up a good portion of this, this cookie sheet. And it's so imperfect and it's rustic and beautiful and you've made it yourself and it's not even that hard. And you've done it with something that you've also, there's my oven, it's ready, that you've also just kind of babied and fed and, it's just so beautiful. Okay, that's probably good. That's good. The edges are always a little bit thinner, but then they're more crispy, and I like how that does that. Okay, so it's definitely not, you know, even and pretty. All right, and now you can sprinkle whatever you like on here, whatever seasoning you like. I thought cracked pepper might be good, maybe even just salt, whatever your taste buds are into. Now, Man Cub hates this seasoning, so he doesn't eat my crackers, but RJ loved them. Rich loves them. Oh gosh, with the garlic in this spread with the sourdough smell is so good. I'm gonna pop them in the oven. I put them down about this far on the rack. What is this? I think that's cheese from cheese bread. And you put it in here for 10 minutes and it hardens just enough for you to take a pizza cutter and score it. This robe I'm wearing is so old. It's almost as old. It is as old, not almost. It's as old as my marriage to Motorcycle Man. It's almost 32 years old. And by the way, I told you guys I was 55. I'm not 55 yet. I'll be 55 in May. I have a little bit of time left. So this is the not so romantic, beautiful part of the sourdough stuff. It's gunky. It's gross. It's not fun to deal with. Is there a better way, people? If you know, please tell me, because I think it's so messy and gooky and gosh, so not up my alley, this part. This is my discard that I didn't use today. Oh, I think I got some in my coffee. Oh gosh. I'm not a professional in the kitchen person, and I'm not a professional gardener. I'm a professional, let me try this and make it messy and whatever. That's the story of my robe. My old robe. I have videos about it, but you know, you don't want to go. I've been, you know, doing this 2 years. I have over 400 videos, and you don't want to go back to say like, where's that video about the robe? I don't even know where it's at. So this is the old robe that I love. I had to get it because of Melrose Place. Did anyone watch that show? Melrose Place. Well, one of the characters wore this, I think her name was Allison. She wore this robe. It was in a lighter blue color. Okay. Now I got to clean up this mess. You want to go out? You want to go out, little man? There you go. It's been 10 minutes and you want to give it a little score with your pizza cutter, and guess what? It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to just cut little lines in there. I like my crackers kind of small and obviously and wonderfully imperfect. Oh, that's a little line. That's a fat line. Ah, they smell so good. I wish you could smell them. Beep. And then you want to put them in the oven for 40 more minutes at least. And while they're in the oven, I'll talk to you about my nose. All right, the crackers are in the oven. I'm gonna sit. I love to sit here with the light that comes in perfectly in my kitchen. I love to film in my kitchen even though it's echoey and weird. I love my kitchen. And I love the light in here, and I love to sit there at that island and draw and create and journal and write letters. It's one of my favorite places to be because I can see the little tiny library outside, and I see the visitors that come. And then I say, you know what? Life is beautiful. Life is good. I had a rough week last week. A lot of it due to, let's just face it, probably hormones, and a lot to do with RJ going back to Idaho, having a wonderful, fulfilling visit, knowing she's going to be married someday to Austin. That is in the future, and knowing that, wow, life is completely different now. It's the next chapter, and I need to embrace it, but I was really sad. I was super sad. And then I even questioned this channel. I'm like, should I even be doing this? Because is that really living life? But yes, I love to share my life. And whether you're here or not, I love to share because it's my creative outlet. I keep saying that. Couple of things I want to show you before I talk about the nose. This weekend, okay, does anyone know what Dutch Brothers is? Dutch Bros. Dutch Bros. Okay. I first saw Dutch Bros when we were in Oregon. We were on a road trip and we went through Dutch Bros, and also in Idaho. Yeah, in Idaho, I saw Dutch Bros. And it's this super like chill coffee drive-through place. They blast their music. All their employees are super, super happy, and it's so crazy. And we got one here locally. It's our first local one here to us. And Rich and I went out this weekend as part of our just time out. He really actually doesn't like to shop, by the way. But I went to a vintage place, and he sat in the car and just rested, and then he came in and bought a CD. He likes to look at the CDs because you know what? The Jeep that he has to drive now that used to be my Jeep when Abby was in preschool, he drives that now because the poor Ford F-150 is, I think he does have to put it to sleep, but he just keeps parking it on the curb because he likes to just look at it. And anyway, it has a CD player. It's not high tech. So he likes to buy CDs. He used to plug in his old iPod, those ones that are like this big. He used to plug in that to his truck because obviously his truck's 22 years old. It didn't have all the bells and whistles like that. Now he's doing CDs. So he likes to look at CDs in the vintage stores, and I like to look at every pickin' little thing in the store if I can. But I want to show you. Here's our Dutch Bros. I'm sitting by the freezer. Here's our Dutch Bros. I didn't finish it. Holy mackerel, it was the biggest sugar bomb I've ever tasted. And of course, Rich always says, let's get larges. And we stood in line in our car for 1 hour and 15 minutes to get that drink. Crazy. But you know what we always say? Time spent. Back to what I got. I got this cookbook from the late 1920s called The Art of Cooking and Serving. And it is adorable, and I do want to make something out of here. I do. Look at that. I want to make something out of here because that would just be fun to do. But the only thing is, so many of the recipes call for Crisco. Crisco. I bet you, though, I can do a substitute and do like maybe, I've never cooked with beef tallow or some kind of, different kind of lardy thing that is more healthy and not, Crisco. But I think Crisco this must have been a promotion for them because there's all these things on deep frying hints with Crisco and pastry tips with Crisco and biscuit tips with Crisco and cake making simplified with Crisco. Okay. Whoa. And then inside here, I love this kind of stuff. Whoever's this book was, they taped in an extra recipe called cream cold slaw. Looks like it has shredded cabbage, sugar, vinegar. That's it. Wow. And it has their address, Mrs. L. Claire Bortz, and she was from Pennsylvania. And it's in here. It's so cool. I love stuff like that. And I also want to show you this tiny book. In one of my videos recently, I was admiring this artist. And my aunt pays attention. She watches my videos. And she loves tiny things. And she found this tiny, green, cute book with these illustrations. I read it. It was so cute. And I cracked up because this one's called A Pocket Full of Proverbs, but by the same author. A friend is someone who likes you. I sure hope so. She has a lot of little cowboy ones too. The Cowboy's Secret Life. The Brave Cowboy. I mean, this is really, I love stuff like this. Lastly, before I talk about my nose, because that's going to be an interesting conversation. I don't even know if you're going to want to stick around for that. RJ and I pulled our card yesterday, our little frog card. We pull this once a week with each other. And I got, today I will find the sweetness in the little things. Is that not so cute? We pull one of those every week together. And only one time have we pulled the same card, and it was the one day I said, RJ, I think today's the day we're going to pull the same card. And she said, oh, Mom, that's whatever. And then guess what? We pulled the same card. Now, I just got lucky. I think I just got lucky, but we both got super dramatic and crazy that we pulled the same card. She's like, no way, Mom, no way. I'm like, yeah, we pulled the same card. That was so fun that one time. I'm sure it'll happen again eventually. There's 52 cards, one for every week of the year. So we've been doing it. We've been doing it every week to keep us connected. And it's just one of those little things you can do. Gosh, I love days like this. I really love days like this because I love gray days because mostly in Southern California where I live, they're sunny, they're golden, they're warm, and they're beautiful. People come here for the weather. Honestly, that's what they come here for. And all the other things. We have lots of beautiful places to look at. But when we have, I don't know if you can hear my... That's Stella. I don't know if you can hear her. She has the weirdest meow, and she wants me to come in there and pet her is what she wants. Oh, I'm surrounded by cats. Do you like cats? Okay. What did you do this weekend? I went vintage shopping. I went to get coffee and spent 1 hour and 15 minutes in line with someone I love. I went on a walk. We played cards in the backyard. We made hoe cakes with Papa. It was a fulfilling weekend, and I'm so happy I get them. And I know every day's a weekend for me because I don't work anymore. I'm early retired, if you want to say that, but not old enough to get Social Security. And I'm just blessed because Motorcycle Man says, I'll go to work and you just stay home and do what you love. And it feels like a big vacation after raising kids and working. And I didn't even work that hard. I didn't. I worked part-time. I only worked half days because the other half I got off and I picked all three of our kids up from school. And sometimes they were at 3 different schools because our kids are 3.5 years apart. So I'd go to the elementary school, then I'd go to the middle school, and then I'd go to the high school, and I was picking them up, and I was you know what it's like being a mom. Maybe if you're a mom, maybe, if you're not a mom, you wouldn't know, but it's a lot of work. It's actually harder than actually working at the office that I used to work at. So I would work at the office for half the day, and then I would work as a mother the other half of the day. And they didn't even know I worked, basically, because I was always here for them. It was a beautiful life, and I'm very thankful for it. Now let's talk about the nose for the people pleaser. And when I say nose, it's not this nose, it's the N-O's of me. I have had a hard time my entire life saying no. In fact, I usually would just say yes immediately. Like I wouldn't even think about it. Someone would say, can you house sit for me? Yes. Can you take me to the airport? Yes. Can you take this to the post office for me? Yes. Whatever it was, would you like to go on this weekend getaway with me? Yes. Now, doesn't that sound fun? Well, not fun for someone like me. Sometimes I don't want to go on a weekend getaway with a bunch of strangers. Okay. So I would just say yes, and either I would reluctantly do the thing I didn't want to do and then fester it inside because I did it and didn't really want to do it, and I didn't speak up for myself. Or I would make up an excuse or white lie, which is it's not good to lie. Even if it's a white lie, I have realized that in life, it is not good to lie. Even if it's a little lie, it is not good to lie. Usually comes out in some form, but I would make up something so I didn't have to go or do or whatever it was that I didn't want to do. Whether it be like, I'm not feeling well today, lie. This came up and I can't do that, lie. I would just make things up so I didn't have to face the real reality of saying no to someone because I didn't want to disappoint them. I didn't want them not to like me. My whole life, all I want is for people to like me. And so I will do anything at all costs for you to like me. And I just want to feel valued and liked. And it's been my lifelong journey. But when I started going to therapy, there was a lot of things discussed, and it was immediately figured out, first of all, that I should step away from my job because it was kind of unhealthy circumstances. Sometimes it's not easy to work with family or friends. And for so many years, for those 31 years I did it, and there was a lot of things that were not healthy about it. And there were things good, but things bad. And my therapist saw the not so good things. And she said, you got to step away from it. You really do. And it took me 5 years to get the courage to put my notice in. But I did, and here I am now. I did it. And when I was in therapy, she said to me, she realized immediately that I was a people pleaser, just like right off the bat. I was a people pleaser by working that job for 31 years when I wanted to do other things, more creative things. I could have worked for, a company that was just a little bit more creative and expressive like me, but instead I worked in an office. And when I first started there, we wore nylons and pumps. You called them pumps, high heels and little suits. And I would have my hair in a bun, and I was so proper. And that is not me. That is so not me. I couldn't express myself in the way I wanted to express myself. When I first started, I had a nose piercing, and my parents said, you must take that out. You cannot work in this industry with that thing in your nose. And so I had to take it out. And as years went on, things got a lot more relaxed in the industry that I was in, and we didn't have to wear suits, and we didn't have to wear nylons. You'd be going to work, on the way to work, and you have a run in your nylon, and you're like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? And you'd have to run into the grocery store, and you'd buy, I think they were called legs, and they sold them in an egg. Yes, they sold them in an egg with nylons in there. And you would get your egg of nylons and you'd put them on and you'd be all right for work. And they were stifling to wear those things. Could you imagine? They were stifling to wear those things. Ugh, I hate them so much. And some of them had control top. And I was so skinny. And sometimes I'd get control top and I was like 130 pounds and I got my control top nylons. Oh gosh, I'm so glad those days aren't here. And sometimes I'm like, back in the days, like in the 40s when the ladies went to work and they wore gloves and hats and nylons and all that, and they had to look so perfect. It was so much pressure. It's nice to look at in movies, but it is not nice to want to be that person, to be suffocating and you're wearing girdles. My great grandma wore a girdle. Whew, glad that's over. Went off again. Okay. My therapist said I was a people pleaser. She noticed it right off the bat. And she gave me one sentence that I could start to use that would help me have time to think about my yes or my no. She also encouraged me to be honest about my no. And she told me that people would hate it. People would actually be uncomfortable with me. People would be like, who is this person? I thought I could ask her anything. And she always says yes. She's my yes girl. I remember we had an accountant at work and she would say there's two kinds of people in this world. There's takers and there's givers. There's always going to be the takers and there's always going to be the givers. I'm a giver and I had a lot of takers in my life. The one sentence that she told me to use is, let me think about it. Let me think about it. So someone would call me and they would say, can you do this for me? Will you do this for me? Are you available for this? And I would say, you know what? Let me think about it and I'll get back with you. And that was a key sentence that helped me get my foot in the door of the NO Club. I'm so glad that I learned that sentence because it's a good sentence to segue into the no's. So very recently, I was tested with a couple of no's. And let me tell you about them because I want to give you specific examples that were really hard for me. And for some people, they'll be like, that's easy. What do you mean that was hard? But for me, it was really hard. And not only is it hard, it stirs up feelings inside my body, like physical feelings of like, oh, I let them down. I'm a bad person. Why can't I do this? We're supposed to put others before ourselves. And I struggle with it. Here is my first example. When RJ was down here visiting for a very short amount of time, she had a very packed schedule and I had to share her with other friends and family, of course. And there was one night in that small amount of time that I wanted to be just reserved for our, what I call nuclear family. Mom, dad, 3 children with their 3 people. I wanted it that tight and that small because it's very rare that we get those times. And you know that when you're within your own family, there's a super different dynamic, there's a comfortability, and when other people maybe are there, it changes things. And not that you don't appreciate or love those other people, but you had this other idea in mind. So RJ came down one morning and she said, okay, today's the day we're spending time with our friends and they're practically family. I call Mama B Abby's second mom, basically. We've helped raise these girls that have the same exact birthday, that are best friends. And JJ has gone on family vacations with us and family gatherings, and she is really officially part of our family. And we've adopted her in as our family, and Mama B has helped raise Abby, and it's been a beautiful life. And Abby said, Mama B and JJ are going to be at our tonight when we barbecue and we hang out in the backyard. And my heart just sort of stopped a minute. I was like, I love them. I love them so much. But I had this other idea in mind. And so now, Abby, you're going to have to let them know they can't come. And she's like, Mom, I'm not going to do that because I want them here. And if that's what you want, you're going to have to tell them. So, and I knew that Bridget, Mama B, would be so receiving of this because that's just how she is. And I let her know in a text, I know, chicken way, but I let her know, like, I'm looking forward to having lunch with you guys today. I've been looking forward to it. I can't wait. And I know that you all wanted to come over here to barbecue this evening. However, I need it to be my immediate family. That was my plan. I've had to share Abby with friends and family this short amount of time, and I just wanted this one time with her. And Mama B said, I totally understand. I totally get it. So it went over relatively well. And it was hard. That was hard for me to do. But I did it. And it was, I can't even tell you how hard that was for me to do. And then days later, and this is on a very small scale, but still, it was a no. My neighbor, she sees me walk with Rich every night. Like, she sees me. She lives next door. She sees me walk. They have a Doberman pinscher that is a new part of their family. Like, they've had him about a year, Zeus. And she texted me recently and said, do you want to be a part-time dog walker? And I was like, no, I don't. Because when I go on walks with Rich, it's our time. We talk. We enjoy each other's company. If we have a dog with us, we're going to be stopping. He's going to be going to the bathroom. We're going to have to... I had a German Shepherd. I had a big dog before, and I loved him deeply. And it was a commitment to walk him, and he had to stop every few seconds and sniff and pee and poop and all this stuff. It's not a regular walk. So I said to her, and Rich was looking at me. He's like, how are you going to deal with this? And I was like, he's like, you know, you have to be straightforward, because if you give her any kind of inkling that it could happen, she will grasp onto that. So I started with no. I said simply, no, I don't want to walk Zeus. I love my walks without having to stop for a dog going poo and pee. And I said all those things. I elaborated. And you know what came back? Laugh out loud, Zeus doesn't poo on his walks. So I was like, I guess the no was not solid enough. So I said, I understand that, but I don't want to walk Zeus. I'm sorry. And that was hard. Because you know what? People know I'm a yes person. And she sees me walk every night, and she's probably thinking, why wouldn't she walk my dog? But that was my other no. And it could be things that simple, or it can be things really, really, really big, like life choices and people you decide to hang around or not hang around. If someone wants to hang around you that is not life filling, like there's some people in my life that I know, if I'm going to go out with them, they're just going to talk all about themselves, and it's going to be exhausting. And do I really want to do that? I'm at an age where I can choose who I want to hang out with. And sometimes it's going to be a no. So those are the things I'm learning later in life. How are you with nose? How do you handle your nose? Okay, that's enough for this segment. It's been 20 freaking 1 minutes. All right, the timer has gone off. Let's do this. I want to show you what it looks like. I just sat and talked with you for like 21 minutes, and usually they just start breaking up. But anyway, it's done, I can tell. That's done. All right, I'm using a different type of parchment paper, and it seems to be kind of sticking to it. Maybe I put it the wrong way. But this is the crackers. And do you do this? Leave your oven open for the heat after you've baked, if it's a rainy, chilly day. Look at those beautiful stars. In the meantime, I got ready. I'm going to do a little dance, maybe in my robe. I'm going to wrap this up. This is going to be one of my longer videos, but you know what? I don't care. You can stay or you cannot stay. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to do what I want now. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to agonize. If you have time, you'll be here. If you don't have time, you won't. Let's dance. And guess what? Peace, love. The light is better this way. Peace, love. Keep going. And yeah, never give up. Never, ever give up. Oh, I left the cupboard open because that's where my makeup is. All right, let's dance. Here we go.